to arise. Satan is broken. Satan has already failed. Since before the foundations of the earth, our birthright will be secured. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us. I want to start plowing into the news, but coming up a little bit later in the hour, I am going to get into the designed collapse of humanity we're witnessing, that everything else is just window dressing around. And that if we don't have a sense of destiny, a sense of wanting the species to succeed. Because look, the overall message in the media is humans are bad, we're ugly, we're stupid. But, oh, we're going to have transgender bathrooms and mommies and daddies are bad and don't say he or she because someone might not be a he or she. It's just total scrambled faux rights. You ever wanted to know what an anti-societal weapon system would look like? You're being hit by it. And they write textbooks admitting they are. Has nothing, people go, oh, you're against trannies. It has nothing to do with that. This is a weapon system. This is a joke. This is forced mental illness, and every metric shows mental illness, and I can see it with my own two eyeballs, is exploding. People are acting like babies everywhere. It's because the general public is in a trance state, totally immersed, and their brainwaves in a near sleep state. That's mainstream news. Children's brains are completely rewired in a bad way. IQs are plunging. Attention spans are less than that of a goldfish. Less than 7 seconds. Most people now I talk to, they're gone. They're not even listening to a word you say. They're bouncing from one thing to the next. And they're not even alive. They respond to stimuli. They don't have original thoughts. They don't put out stimuli. They don't affect the world around them. They are nothing but receivers, not transmitters. And they believe that transmitting nothing and being completely supine is empowering. That's the one false instinct they hold to, that being cynical, being stupid, being foolish, being uninformed is a shield, an armor. But they have words like racist and homophobe and sexist, and they grasp on to class warfare like it's a life preserver in the frozen Atlantic North. They are children caught in a trance by the television. Even though they're 30, 40, 50 years old, they were captured early. They were put into Wonderland, into a dream state, into a trance. And now there's just the stimuli of giggling and laughing at Alex Jones, giggling and laughing at Donald Trump, laughing when you hear about the fluoride, even though they tell you it's killing you. See, that's their rule. It's killing you, U.S. government admits, Harvard admits, cancer, brain damage, but still the sitcoms make jokes, so it feels good to laugh, even though you can't think. And NPR, to the pseudo-intellectual, keeps them in a calm, happy space where you're successful, you've arrived because you listen to this show and you follow these beliefs and you like Bernie Sanders and Hillary and Bill and you care and you're progressing because your leaders are in charge and they tell you you're winning the war. The war of inequality. Oh, it's getting so much better, isn't it? Yes, Hillary's not a warmonger. Everything's fine. We'll be back. Stay with us. I just clicked on YouTube, though, because a lot of times when other things aren't working, I click on that and it still works. And it was giving me what YouTube wanted me to see. So for like an hour working out, in the background was how great the Queen of England is, and people singing God Save the Queen, and Justin Bieber and how incredibly cool he is, and then just all this mindless garbage. And it was literally just showing me how the West is a dumping ground of the most weaponized brainwashing anyone could ever imagine. And it was showing all these different Hollywood stars and all these different little, 2-minute pieces with Justin Bieber and other rock stars or hip-hop stars. And it was just so empty, so clownish, so ridiculous. People on red carpets, people trying to act cool. It was like a caricature of itself. It was like the best comedy, way better than Monty Python. But it was so saddening that I had to turn away. These people singing God Save the Queen for some Transylvanian parasite. With Prince Philip, the eugenicist, sworn to want to kill 80% of the world population, standing next to her with Prince Charles, who lives in Count Dracula's castle. Half the year in Transylvania now. He's like retired to Transylvania. Complete lunatics. Yes, the House of Dragon, folks, rules over us. It's total fruitcakeville. I go to the grocery store, it's just royalty everywhere. Oh, the royalty. You think I was a British subject. And that's just 1/1,000,000th micron of all the brainwashing, just like Niagara Falls hitting us in the face every day. A total false reality. So I want to tell all the liberals and the trendies and the mainline conservatives and everybody, you all tune in to what you think is the answer, what you think is this spectrum of analysis, and it's all there to make you think you're intellectual and smart because you read the Weekly Standard or National Review, or you watch CNN or MSNBC, or you read a book by Bernie Sanders. I mean, give me a break. The establishment globalist combine with Goldman Sachs at the very top is weaponized, aimed directly at you to make you obsolete and to be a mindless bauble who goes along as a suboid in this technocracy in their own words. Do you understand Goldman Sachs over 100 years ago was a group of socialists and globalists who pooled their money to create that organization to take over the U.S. stock market, and they did it. Do you know about any of this? Because you need to discover it now. We don't have much time. The admitted world government project is to bring in a technocracy where normal, human, individual, undomesticated life is impossible. Then they will make life itself and reproduction impossible without going through a scientific system. They want a monopoly on all reproduction, on all creatures on the planet. They want to be G-O-D, capital letters, exclamation point. Now, I'm going to get into the news here. But I want to talk to liberals and trendies and everybody else that's cynical and thinks they're in control of the situation and makes a joke out of everything. You have been subliminally and culturally programmed. You've been given hypnotic suggestions. You have been absolutely prepared and programmed to have a response when you're threatened, to make a joke out of it and submit to it, and to only fight on petty issues with fellow humans at a low level. That's how you've been trained. That's how you've been captured. And the boa constrictor is now wrapped around your life, your destiny, the entire genetic line of badasses before you that brought you to this point. And you are desecrating it. You are mutilating it. You are disrespecting it. You are, got to use it if it fits, pissing all over it. Now, they just put live feeds of the police pepper spraying at Bilderberg in Dresden, where reporters and people are now showing up, daring to just see the world shadow government. And cops in RoboCop future uniforms are just engaging in all forms of evil. I guess that's up on Infowars.com. We'll get the reporters on about it, but quite frankly, that's just a microcosm of everything I'm talking about here. You must admit to yourselves, I'm talking to our general audience, but to people that have been put into a spell. Do you remember if you were a little girl when you were 4 years old with Barbie and getting Barbie high-heel pink shoes and a Barbie dress and dressing up and imagining you were a princess over a kingdom and being on a power trip and just feeling good about it? Now, do you remember being older, maybe 5, 6, 7, and dressing up and then it felt stupid and you realized that it was make-believe? Make-believe's good in children to imagine big things in their future and to war game and model dreams. But when the dreams are given to you artificially by Disney, and you're put in a position to believe you really could be a princess, you then grow up to worship the real princess, the demonic crone of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Elizabeth of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. You see how that works? They give you the false dreams, the false memories as a child, like you're a replicant in Blade Runner, and you become a replicant. You are a replicant, basically. You came from a father and a mother, but they short-circuited the genetic line, the instincts, the rituals, the rites of passage that would trigger your normal ascension to a man or a woman, to a powerful entity. And this flesh suit we wear, this earth suit, and it's the same thing. You're part of the Democratic Party, you're part of the Republican Party, you're part of the church, you're part of this. It's all there to totally control you and to make you delusionally as a boy. I remember being 3 years old, 3.5 years old, jumping off my porch with a towel tucked in to my shirt saying that we were Batman and Robin. And I remember being about 3.5, 4 years old and saying to my neighborhood friend, you know, we're not really Batman and Robin. And I remember I just didn't want to play Batman and Robin after I was about 3.5, 4 years old. Everybody else was still playing it when they were 10 or 11. When I was 12, and I'm not bragging, this is a normal behavior, I was going after women who were 16, 17 years old. They're like, what are you doing, kid, at the pool? Coming up to, you know, a 17-year-old, you're very beautiful. Didn't even know what I was doing. I just, hey, you're beautiful. I was a man, or trying to be one. And that's the difference. I was following my genetic code. I was being a human. I'm nothing special, folks. I'm just a man that can read textbooks written by the White House Science Czar and the Club of Rome and Prince Philip's books and all of it, how they're going to dumb us down, get control of us, poison us slowly, and then wipe us out. First going to make us all sterile, going to have cultural systems so we don't have kids. And I'm sitting here watching them do all of this and destroy us, and I know I'm right. This isn't my opinion. I wasn't playing Batman and Robin when I was 7 or 8 or 9 years old. I was reading the entire World War II encyclopedia by Time Life Books. I was reading the entire World War I encyclopedia. I was reading the entire engineering encyclopedia. Had no idea no one else was doing that. And now I know why all these years later. Because it was my genetics and my spirit was a weapon system against these people, just like you are, and was grabbing the data, trying to figure it out, seeing what adults were saying, trying to decipher the system, trying to find out what was behind it the whole time. Survival, survival, survival. My instincts were, you are under attack. You are under attack. Don't drink that tap water. Ask your parents for water filters. Oh, the tap water's good. Drink it. Drink the water. Feel sick. Feel weak. But I was aware of it. My instinct was overdriving it, growing new neural pathways around the attack. When you're aware of the attack, it flips all the switches on. Don't be a victim that I'm under attack and give up. Say, I'm going to fight. Tell your brain you're going to fight. You're never going to give up. Have the will. Don't let them kill your spirit, your soul, your guts, who you are. I'm going to go to the news. But just look at these headlines. Look at DrudgeReport.com. Just look at it. Mexico buckles under migrant surge to USA. They say they're at their limit. They have a deal with Obama for 5 years to allow the immigrants out of the Middle East, China, but mainly Central and South America that come through. They let them through if they get at train stations and hold on to the trains. The cops make sure they have food and a backpack. This is unspoken, but it's admitted. And then they're allowed to travel through Mexico. But if they get off the train, they are beaten up, 6 months to a year, hard labor, tortured, you name it. That's in the London Guardian.